Alright, we're starting. 3, 2, 1. Go Nintendo Podcast, episode 500!
Bravo.
Mom Brain is here.
Hi!
John Savage is here.
Hello!
Lube is here. Vitamin G's here. Mickey Hill is here. Nintendo is here.
Hello!
Kirby's here. I'm here. And Dew is here. I'm Kevin Cassidy. I do the GoNintendo Podcast for GoNintendo.com, and I guess I'm the showrunner of the podcast. Back when I started running a blog, just a Nintendo blog, which was, 10 years ago, I guess. Podcasts were new. Like, I didn't even know what a podcast was. I heard, like, everybody's talking about podcasts are a new thing. Everybody's got to do a podcast. It's a great way to promote whatever you're doing. So I looked up what a podcast was, and I was like, well, all right. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'll give it a shot. So I grabbed some friends that I played games with all my life and hung out with all the time, and we talked about some Nintendo stuff, the news, and we just kept doing it every week.
I am Danielle Nugent, also known as Mom Brain or Mother Brain on the podcast. I have the extreme privilege of living with Rawmeatcowboy and also having been in a very long-term relationship with him. Now we're engaged, so that's kind of the next step in our relationship.
That was great. Remember playing C-Man?
Weren't they
Yes.
My mom was trying to play
Wasn't there a new one coming out, or they were talking about
We
it?
played that at my
Rumors on
parents'
it.
house.
My name is Greg. Podcast name is Vitamin G. I guess my role on the podcast is to just have witty one-liners.
Here's an idea. What if they did?
I'll listen now.
What? It's the talking ring.
I'm Mike. I go by Lube on the podcast. I guess I play more of a supportive role to Rawmeatcowboy and Mother Brain.
And then the 3DS or the DS or DSi, whatever it is now, Game Boy.
Hey, don't touch that cord.
Don't touch that.
Don't touch that.
I'm Andrew. I played Dew Michaels on the popular podcast, GoNintendo Podcast. I'm mainly there to just egg Lube on with whatever diatribe he's on, or maybe start one myself.
You've played the game that you're bad mouthing, right?
I've never finished it because I get so far and then I'm like, what do I
You know
need?
who you sound like? You sound like Dew Michaels, and that guy's never been right about anything.
Like, I love movies and I love TV shows and music and all that stuff, but there's something about how video games bring all that together and throw in an interactive element that other mediums can't offer.
To me, it's just like a hobby. It's a hobby just like anything else. When you're playing games, it's like you're hanging out with your friends.
People that played games always knew it wasn't just about playing alone. It was about getting together with friends and playing, and before the internet was around, you'd sit around the TV and play together. I mean, we still do that today. And it's about making those experiences with friends. Kill it, like.
My dad just came home from Florida too.
Oh yeah, with the driver?
No.
Okay. Perfect.
Sloppy second, 170 the first time.
They're up so that I have more time to fall.
So him and my mom had planned on going to Florida to their Florida house forever ago.
Let's do this. Alright, I think I'm just gonna start. 3, 2, 1. Go Nintendo Podcast, episode 483, the Dialga Podcast. When we started the show, we were going into college, So we had more free time, and we weren't like working our, like rest of our life jobs. So there was more time for everybody to get together and do it. But now there's more solo shows because, we're all adults. We're all in our 30s, so somebody's got like work, or somebody's got family engagements, or somebody's got, their own kid to take care of, so they can't come over.
And even if for whatever reason we can't make it, he will always do the show, like without fail, with or without us. Usually it's with us because we'll always try to make it, but now that we're older and have other things going on in our lives, we can't always be here every weekend.
You're off the show, you left.
If he stopped now, he would let like a lot of people down, I feel. So like he keeps it going for them, and that's why I keep coming for him, to help him out and support that.
And just knowing that there's a whole audience out there too, that cares probably even more than we ever could about what Kevin's doing, and I think he's doing an amazing job, and I just hope he keeps it up.
That's right, G-Man, sir. I'm not alone. I have you guys. That's true. So thank you to T27 Duck and Aaron Knights and Carefree Captain and Metasov and Game Freak and Floody and Nightwing and Floody and Realmo and Bash and whoever else I didn't see in there. I greatly appreciate it. So how you guys doing? Good to see you. Thanks for joining me on such short notice. There's two reasons I do the show. One is for GoNintendo, and it's a part of GoNintendo, so that's important to me. And the other part is I love seeing my friends, so it's an excuse to see friends. So yeah, bring all the friends around. GoNintendo Podcast episode 501, the Oshawott Podcast.
Oshawott?
Off to a great start. I'm very proud of the things that I enjoy in my personal time, and I love sharing those experiences with people. So I love games, but seeing other people enjoy games and play them with me and get great experiences from them is the best part to me. But definitely with age, as you get older, and it's not just video games, and it drives me nuts.
I have several girlfriends who I think refuse to acknowledge the fact that I play games because I think it weirds them out. There are people who don't play games themselves, who think video games are a waste of time, that kind of stuff.
I do admit that there's sometimes I won't always bring it up. I mean, video games, like I said before, are a big part of my life, but if I just meet somebody, I'm not going to say, hey, I'm Andrew, I'm a huge video game player, love doing it, how about you? I wouldn't be...
Wait, you don't do that?
I wouldn't come right out and say it like that.
I can't engage in completely passive recreation. I need to have some part in it, and games allow that. Like a really soothing game for me is, like The Sims or Animal Crossing, where, I'm totally in control of these little lives when my big life is just not in control.
It's a very stress relieving thing for me. I can be in another world. I can kind of detach from the responsibilities that I have in this realm.
People that tie age to their enjoyment, I don't get it.
There can be a stigma to it where, you would say I'm 30-something years old and I'm still playing video games. There shouldn't be any shame in that. You wouldn't go up to somebody who just came out of a movie theater and been like, that 70-year-old man who loves movies.
That stigma is out there. I saw a quote on the internet that I actually saved to my phone, because whenever the argument comes up, I'm like, I have the perfect quote to quell the argument. Critics who treat adult as a term of approval instead of as a merely descriptive term cannot be adult themselves. To be concerned about being grown up, to admire the grown up because it is grown up, to blush at the suspicion of being childish, these things are the marks of childhood and adolescence. And in childhood and adolescence, they are, in moderation, healthy symptoms. Young things ought to want to grow. But to carry on into middle life or even into early manhood, this concern about being adult is a mark of really arrested development. When I was 10, I read fairy tales in secret and would have been ashamed if I had been found doing so. Now that I'm 50, I read them openly. When I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up.
Gaming's not really a niche thing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's that stereotype of like the 30-year-old who lives in his parents' basement and plays games and doesn't have like any kind of social life, but I don't really think that type of person exists, especially with the way gaming has evolved, like socially.
You know, again, I try really hard, you know, when people start saying like, oh, gamers, I'm like, I'm a gamer, you know, like I'm a pretty normal person. I mean, you know, as far as you all know, like I'm a pretty normal person. I'd hope that we've kind of moved in the direction of, I just choose not to do that. It's not my thing.
It's important to me that people enjoy what they want to enjoy and not worry about whatever number is tied to it.
I had very little idea of exactly what I was getting myself into when I agreed to be on the podcast.
Like, I didn't even know what like a podcast was.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of people who don't know what podcasting is.
Cutting edge technology.
Yeah.
So when he was like, just do it, we'll just like, you know, fart around for a while, people will listen, whatever. I was like, you know, sure, we'll do it.
Thanks for joining me, Mom Brain.
Great job.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Kevin I've known him since first grade. He's like one of my best friends, so it was something that I wanted to do to help him with his site. You know, I was like, I'll do this to help you, and then I just, you know, I love doing it now, so I don't care about helping him anymore. I just...
So, like, I kind of just pictured it as, you know, like a quick hobby thing that maybe would happen for a while, but I didn't have any idea that we would be looking at, you know, 500 weeks of that insanity.
We just wanted as many of our friends to be there as possible and try to make each other laugh. That's like kind of our goal. I think that still stands today.
Special offers on my favorite game, Love Me Buddies Wonderland.
What?
Come on, man. I've said this a lot. Love Me Buddies
I don't
Wonderland.
pay attention 90%
Now,
of
did
the
we
time.
determine whether it's
Love Me
Love Me
Buddies?
Buddies or
Well,
Love
there's
Me
no
Buddies?
punctuation at all.
BUTTYS.
Here, hold on. Let me...
I love me buddies.
Doing the podcast and doing video games has been kind of like a bonding agent for me and my friends, especially the ones here and the whole podcast crew. So I'm really glad I've had the opportunity to be a part of GoNintendo and doing the podcast. And otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing every week. I really like hanging out with you guys. I'm really glad we have the podcast to get that opportunity, that excuse to go hang out together.
10 years is the crazy part. I mean, because think about what we were doing 10 years ago. And this has happened every weekend for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
We went from, I think we were all living with our parents 10 years ago, you know, and now we've all gone through like multiple jobs, college education, marriages, you know, and moving out, finding our own homes, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so much has changed, and yet every Saturday, you know, you can still have the podcast if you got to be there. It's great.
As much as we might think we're being idiots and just telling stupid stories and talking about games, it means a million different things to a million different people.
Not for
The podcast was with me when I got a blood clot over 2.5 feet long in my leg. That part broke off and traveled to my lung. Oh dear. And I didn't know if I was going to live.
We could have potentially been the last thing he ever heard.
GoNintendo Podcast was with me when I got the good news from doctors that the clot was all gone. Hooray!
So did we think it would last this long? I guess none of us really thought about whether it would or not, but I think we're in agreement.
Yeah, I
Say
signed a
we're glad
10-year
we did.
contract. Yeah, we're coming up on that soon, by the way. Gonna have to re-up.
Podcast has been a great thing for the site and also a great excuse to keep in touch with friends and hang out and see each other. So I love it, and we're gonna go to 1,000, I guess, or I will.
We're gonna make it. We're gonna get there, guys. Together.
Goodbye, everybody. It's probably a terrible time to tell you guys, but I'm all letting you go.
I'm free!
You finally said what he was waiting to hear.
It's all led up to this moment. I just wish
that one.
Shrimp.
It's a
Beaver
boo
boys.
Look at that. Yeah, it's because we're acting like idiots.
Let's talk regular normal
Go
stuff.
Nintendo Podcast 89. What? Go Nintendo Podcast. Boots.
Testing. Test this.